It's that time of the month again where we honor some of the best of our patrons. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 18 of Under the Middle Rope. I'm your host, Jose Taboada, and just before we start today's program, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see today that I'm actually wearing a Peruvian soccer jersey. They're alternate. It's normally white and red, and that's because at the time of this taping, today, July 28th, in Peru, it is their Independence Day, as my heritage is Peruvian, for those that don't know, and obviously I wish I could be there because they're partying, they're having a good time. I know they're going to go crazy with fireworks and whatnot, so I would just like to wish my heritage, my background country, a happy 28th of July, or as they say in Spanish, Feliz 28, as I'm sure it should be tons of fun. But of course, we move on, and yes, this is still a wrestling podcast, and today it is our Patron of the Month episode where we ask our Middle Row patrons to submit topics for us to discuss on the podcast, and two of our patrons ended up submitting the same thing, and so today we honor them both. And today it is Pete Atkinson, one of our famous guests, one of our popular guests here in the program, because yes, some of our guests do support the podcast, and of course I thank them for that. And Glen Cornwall, another one of our patrons, first time he's been Patron of the Month, and both of them came up to me separately and somehow ended up saying the same thing, and that is, with the surmount of cinematic matches that we've been seeing since the pandemic started, what future cinematic matches would you like to see? So with what opponents and what scenarios? And so Wolf and RJ, the three of us, we got together. They're our guests for today. We got together. We were thinking, where could we go? Who could do this? And we came up with some interesting ones, some crazy, wild scenarios that were very entertaining at the end of the day. And I'm laughing now because there's just so much randomness there. So that's enough for me, and the only thing I can say right now is just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Lights, camera, wrestle. All right, everybody, welcome to the discussion. As always, everybody's unofficial co-host, Andrew Wolf-Woodman, everybody's other unofficial co-host, RJ Stacy. We're back for Patron of the Month, and as I said in the intro, Pete and Glenn are our patrons for the month, and they brought up the suggestion of future and potential cinematic matchups, and so we went back and forth with this. In fact, we're actually, given that today is Tuesday for our filming day, yesterday we originally thought we were going to do this, but then we realized, we want to put a little bit more thought into this because
we did,
because there's so much. This is like an ultimate creative test, because you can go anywhere and anything with this. So instead of doing 5 each of us, because we'll either probably struggle thinking up of a cinematic match and thinking of opponents. B, we may come up with the same people. In fact, RG and I already thought of the same people when we were discussing, which we'll discuss in a bit. So we said, you know what? As a group, let's collectively think of 5, or in this case, we have 6. Break it down and somehow try not to sound crazy and or stupid.
We failed at that.
We absolutely
did.
It's going to. In fact, most of our stupidity won't even come from RJ and us. It's come from another source that's pretty damn obvious between the three of us. So, shall we get started?
No.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Why do I even show up to these things?
Where's my per diem?
Where's my per diem? Actually, more importantly, where's your food for today? Because yesterday you brought a cake out, and you're not even having a cake today, and you wasted your cake. It was a double chocolate fudge cake.
Double chocolate cake from Wegmans.
Damn.
I know, right? And I made him kill it because I thought we were gonna film yesterday, and he burned it, so he doesn't have anything for today.
I ate it.
What a time to be alive! In 20.
I just ate my protein bar because this guy kept going on before we went on the air.
At least you matched your double chocolate fudge cake with a protein bar. Like, at least you're kind of balancing yourself out a little
next week I'll have carrot sticks.
Carrots and celery. No ranch though.
Yeah,
put a little salt on it if you want some flavor.
Good God, that sounds disgusting. All right, away we go. So our first cinematic match brings us to the actually a topic visited before, which is the church, the home of God, the house of God, as many people like to say it, and of course, who in WWE today embraces one with their faith, embraces one with our Lord, and that's yeah, that's it. And it's Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, is turned on this role. Of course, this role has cost somebody their eye in the process. But, he's become a very divulged, very deep in this gimmick. And so we've realized, given that with his past with the best storyline in the last little bit and the people that he's been matched up against, we figured why not put him in a cinematic match with Aleister Black, and more fittingly inside a church. And of course, I say this not the first time, because who can forget when Shane and Vince went inside a church, when Vince scooped up holy water and did a Triple H spit, and of course infamously beat God at Backlash 2006 when God paired up with Shawn Michaels. Great times here. Gentlemen, thoughts on Black and Rollins in a church? Wolf?
Well, I absolutely want it to be like the Colin Firth scene in Kingsman, where he just goes on a 5-minute long rampage, all in one single shot, set to the song "Freebird" by Lynyrd Skynyrd. But just now, I have a vision of something of how I want the match to end.
I'm ready for this. I'm all ears.
Bring it on. Let's see what you say.
This is a Wolf match.
So Black is on the ground, like maybe in a pew or something. Rollins is standing over him, maybe about to like deliver the stomp. And then all of a sudden you see a basket come in, and like, a collection basket, and you hear "Peace be with you," and it's full of eyes. The basket's full of eyes, and then the camera pulls up, and there's Rey Mysterio, and he goes hog wild on Seth, 619s him, and then him and Aleister just put him inside the confessional booth and kick it over and win.
Not even 5 minutes into the discussion, and
I just want that phrase, "Peace be with you."
RJ? RJ's done for.
Yeah, what Wolf said, really. That's kind of all I want now. As long as there's no eye for an eye anymore, like nobody takes like a cross and just like starts gouging people's eyes out.
God. That's worse than the stairs. That's worse than the stairs.
As long as we're done with that, then I am cool with it. We can just do what Wolf said. Go as crazy as that. I don't even care. These cinematic matches are getting, I feel like this would be, I don't want to say it would be too silly. It would be silly, but it would be awesome because like this is kind of Seth Rollins' character. So as long as we don't be gouging anybody's eyes out anymore, then yeah, let's do what Wolf said.
Well, aside from the ending, I mean, I was telling this to Wolf yesterday when we were discussing. So like, I actually personally, on my own spare time, I do volunteer at a church. Great.
Oh, that's just so much worse.
See, no, the reason
feel bad now.
No, don't feel bad.
Father Rick, can we use your church for a wrestling match?
See, this is why I say this, because when I was talking to Wolf yesterday, I actually started to think about my own church, and I'm like, boy, what can we use in my own church for the cinematic match? And at least in mine, you can we have a foosball table, a ping pong table, and a pool table. I can imagine all the things you can do with that. You have a bunch of chairs stacked up everywhere. You can smack them around that. This is all in the basement.
I like that his church sounds more like a Dave and Buster's than a church.
You have like shelves that you can use. We have like glass tables.
There's a corner where you can cash in your tickets for prize.
Yeah, here, Body of Christ, 40 tickets.
And like there's a boiler room as well, so things get crazy in there. And then if you go
to Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
And then if you go to like the backyard or the garage of the place, you have like all the tools there and everything. Then of course in the church itself, probably jump off the cross or jump off the loft. I shouldn't have said the cross. Jump off the loft where the choir sits. I just think of so many different places. I'm like, Seth and Aleister Black would make sense of this thing. Go into the sacristy, pull out all like the tools throughout the mass, and just like hit him with like chalices and bells. And I'm like, so I accidentally thought a bit this through into anybody that I volunteer with. I'm so sorry, but
now that you mention that, can we please just have like the church choir in the background the whole time, just like singing the praise of
no man is ever truly good, no man is ever truly evil. Amen.
Hallelujah.
And then I can just picture Jose like at work, just like looking around. It's like, okay, he can get power bombed off that. We could see a swanton off that. And it's
book the matches and clean that pew.
I've been there for a long time. They're a great group of people over there, but it's just like you look at all the you look in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can think of so many things you can do for a cinematic match. I can see Seth Rollins just like slamming Aleister Black to the pews, and then of course Rey Mysterio comes charging in. Like, hey, so.
Wait, how do you know your church isn't already an underground wrestling league and that they
I don't
do
know.
that? I just visioned someday you're gonna walk in the middle of mass. First of all, I wonder why you'd be late. Second of all, your pastor is just gonna rip off his cloak and reveal his gear. Make way for Monsignor McPain.
Monsignor McPain.
Have you ever come across Reverend Devon?
Oh God!
Yeah, I mean, like, oh God, RJ, you and I have been fans for just as long as we've nearly been fans at the same time. Who doesn't remember Reverend Devon and Deacon Batista?
That was the start,
Batista.
man.
That was
Batista.
That was the start. Holding a collection box with a big chain around his neck, walking around with like a suit jacket with no sleeves.
So big.
You missed some prime Devon back in the day. I know you became a fan very late, but back in our day, way when we used to walk to school on cattles. Devon
to school on cattle.
I know.
I'm sorry. The visual you painted there is that you're walking on a cow to school.
Yeah, the cattle's walking and Jose's walking on top of it. Just like
it's like a treadmill or
like a treadmill.
Cattle. PETA, line 1.
All right. Okay, now, last but not least, who wins this cinematic match?
Aleister.
RJ?
It's got to be. I got to go with Seth.
Yeah, I got to go Seth as well.
But peace be with him.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Peace will be with them, but it's. Yes, it is still with them. You're working the censors today. Well, it is like Aleister Black would have a chance, but it's still Seth's house or playground. I don't know. I don't want to say playground or house. But I think we'll end up on that and we'll move on to the next match. Enough. Oh, that's great. Next.
Wait. Before, if I may jump in, ladies and gentlemen, this idea was brainstormed before the news came out yesterday afternoon. And whether you choose to believe that or not is up to you, but we can't make this up. Jose.
Yeah, of course. Talk about the next match. So with the next cinematic match that we thought of, and we figure I think out of the ones that we were saying, it would make the most sense, which would be Sasha Banks versus Bayley, because last night on Raw again, or this past Monday on Raw, I should say, Sasha did properly win that Raw Women's title. I believe it's her 6th reign as Raw Women's Champion, or fifth. I wasn't sure which one because her title reigns were gone like that. We're gone so quick.
So short.
But first of all, just before we move on, I hope that this is a proper reign for her. It's time. The first 4 were completely screwed over because of Charlotte and the desperation to get her title count up. So hopefully this is a good spot for Sasha. Now, in saying that, of course, we've been talking about this for months, even before WrestleMania. Will Sasha and Bayley ever go head to head? Now we're in a situation, and I said this before our last show, before the Extreme Rules prediction show, that what if Sasha wins so the two can have a complete chokehold, a stronghold on all the main roster women titles, and they do. They're both the women's champion. They're both SmackDown and Raw women's champions. So it's like, holy smokes! Like they have everything, and it's like, now do they finally blow up? And if they do, the cinematic match, SummerSlam, again, if it happens. And of course, we were thinking with the cinematic match, well, if this does happen, what will we think? And we thought of a boat. We thought we'd put them on a boat. However,
as you would.
Of course, because it's summer, it's splashy, it's the biggest party of the summer.
Oh yeah.
Now, of course, at the time of this recording, we are 26 days away from SummerSlam. We're slowly coming up, and things are slowly starting to pick up. We already have some matches announced, and one of the rumors that came out for SummerSlam, and the reason why Wolf came up with this disclaimer earlier, was because SummerSlam apparently rumored to not be in the Performance Center, which would be their first event out of there since God knows when, and put on a boat. The thing of throwing everybody on a boat, the SS WWE, and have SummerSlam there.
SS WWE.
And put it on there. So, if that's the case, then why are we doing this? But our cinematic match was Sasha and Bayley on a boat and just have the time of our lives on the boat. RJ, let's start with you on this. Your thoughts on the whole thing. And I mean, at this point, we may as well go with the hard news and think of just talk about the boat. as a location rumor, but if this would be an ideal cinematic match for Sasha Bailey.
So before I get into the match, have you guys seen the Big Show?
Yes.
No.
Do you know the episode where they go on like the cruise and
Yeah, with Rikishi and McFoley and Mark Henry.
and Mark Henry, yeah, and then they all eat the catering that Big Show gets for him and his wife. Anyway,
It's actually a good show.
I watched it start to finish in one day, and I'm like, oh, this is like funny. It's watchable.
It works best if you like look at it like they're trying to make fun of sitcoms rather than a sitcom in earnest. But you know,
yeah. Anyway, back to the match. When I was first thinking of Bailey versus Sasha in like a cinematic way, I'm thinking like, okay, like maybe it would be more like the greatest match ever, because I do think that they want them to have still some sort of like one-on-one match. But yeah, on a boat, they could just be like going up and down from the poop deck to the. I just want to say poop deck. I'm sorry.
It is what it's called. That is what it's called. Come on, guys. It's a boat.
I just wanted to see if I could get a chuckle out of Wolf, because I thought that there was a better chance there than Jose.
It works.
But yeah,
Wolf likes to giggle. Wolf does like to giggle.
They could fight up and down the boat, or better yet, instead of a full like cruise ship, we get them on like a speedboat, and they only have like a. We got a driver at the front, driving. Do you drive? You drive a boat? Is that what you say? Drive a boat, steer a boat.
Right.
Anyway,
ride a boat,
operate a boat. I don't know.
Let's go with operate. Let's go to the operate.
We got like Asuka in the front, like operating the boat. She's like taking like waves, spinning around in circles, like whatever, just trying to like toss them off back and forth. And they are just fighting on this little like 7 foot boat or whatever, and just having a little submission match. But no, that would be not very good. I mean, after talking about it,
it's so small.
But now I'm like, that's not funny. That's not even good.
So
I mean, like, they could have like one of those like high school wrestling matches, just in the little like an actual wrestling match. I don't know, man. Maybe it's a big speedboat.
Wolf, let's go to you.
I don't know if I want to go for a Baywatch parody, a Miami Vice parody, or a Love Boat parody, but I want some sort of like parody. Maybe like just the 80s Miami music and like Bailey showing up on a boat with. I don't know. It's hard to book a boat match, without people saying, guys, the Jericho Cruise,
Oh.
I know. That was like, I'm surprised that hasn't already happened on Twitter. I think Bailey wins the first one because you give it to the heel, and obviously Sasha would be the babyface. But yeah, there's a lot you could do with something like this. Just going up and down through the boat. Maybe, you go through the casino, somebody's playing shuffleboard, and like they use the shuffles as skates, like while they're just having this epic like Revenge of the Sith style lightsaber fight. I don't know. I didn't put as much thought to this as I did to other ones.
What do they even have on a cruise ship? Like I was trying to think of that. Have any of you been on a cruise ship? Like
no, but
does the Jungle Cruise count in Disney World?
It's more than I've been on, so I would count it as a half at least.
Well, first of all, there'll be an animatronic elephant that the guy that's paid to pretend to be a cruise director is like, oh dear, we must get out of here and into the Serengeti.
Can I say that I actually would excuse me, I actually was looking into the Jericho Cruise. I was. Because I was curious, let's see what this is about. We have some friends that have actually been on there, talk about it's the greatest thing on earth, and I'm like, it can't be because it's not WrestleMania. But they were. You guys can hear me, yeah, you can. Excuse me. And there was a lot of stuff. There was like a basketball court, tennis court, karaoke bar, open bar, I guess, if you want to be there. There was like stuff like that. So I mean, if you were to go to like from that perspective, yeah, I can totally see Sasha and Bailey, fighting in a basketball court and then using the basketball to slam the other person with it on the head, or tennis court, like hit him across the head with a racket, or go to the bar. Everybody likes to get time at the bar, Yeah. So
there's definitely a bar. That's all I know that there is on cruises, is that you definitely can drink there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about it.
If you're stuck at sea and you'd want to calm down, yeah, go get plastered, please.
And does the winner of this match win by throwing the other one off the cruise ship?
that would be terrible. But
Or can we
I
do
feel
like
like
Royal Rumble SummerSlam style, where everybody,
Both feet
whoever
must
gets
touch
thrown
the
off the
water.
cruise ship, the winner gets the championship match at whatever WrestleMania or whatever. You do the SummerSlam Royal Rumble off the cruise ship instead of outside the ring.
See, now the question is, with this cinematic match, assuming, would you put the titles on one of them? Would you give like the opportunity to give one of these ladies complete control of all titles?
I think
I
that
feel
would be the plan. Like, I feel like when they, like, now that they have all the titles together, I feel like they think that's the biggest match possible. Like, they did that at WrestleMania when they threw the random SmackDown title into the match. I feel like when they put the two of them together, they feel like it's the biggest match possible. So I feel like if they do a cinematic match where they're going up and down a boat, I feel like when these two do clash, they have to have all the titles on the line. I just think that that's the most likely scenario coming forward, unless for whatever reason Sasha loses it back to Asuka, which is possible too. But I do think that they're all going to be on the line when these guys go head to head.
Wolf?
I don't really like the idea of somebody holding all the titles because that just gives me that visual I hate of Austin Aries walking into Ring of Honor with like 16 on him. And I'm sorry, censor me again. Austin Aries sucks. I don't know. I don't really see like this being like a full title match. Maybe one of them would lose their title first, but something about like all the titles online just doesn't appeal to me.
I feel like it could happen. Sorry, I feel like it could
No.
happen where one of the two of them, or probably Bailey in this scenario, gets jealous now that Sasha's got the title, and she maybe costs Sasha in a rematch against Asuka, which leads to them going head to head. I feel like that's a way that they could get to it without all the titles, because like Wolf said, I don't want to see somebody have all the titles. I just think that that's the most likely path that they take.
The only person that doesn't have that many titles is Thanos.
Again, all of us assuming that this all could happen. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. I'm just trying to drink a lot of water here. Now, last but not least, who wins this? Wolf?
Bailey?
RJ? I have my pick.
I'm gonna go with Sasha. I'm with
RJ again. Sorry, that's who I was gonna say as well. And Wolf, you're
Sasha needs that. Sasha needs that big win.
Exactly, and we feel like she's never gotten it.
If this is the finale to the feud, then yes, Sasha. But I don't.
Did we have a feud to begin with?
I don't know. We've been having a feud ever since they began.
This whole thing's been a feud, even when they're teaming together. It's all a feud.
I swear to God, the dragon showed up in Game of Thrones faster than this got to the point.
Well, nonetheless, we'll see what happens for SummerSlam again.
If this happens, then we should immediately get so much money from Patreon.
We really should.
Like a future prediction bonus, like the That's So Raven grant for people that can actually see the future.
That's So Raven grant.
What a show. Let's move on here now.
So wolfy, I can see that's so wolfy, so still you me.
Yeah, that's me. Today's show is very like
on each week.
We really do. Now, when Pete and Glenn suggested this, as we move on to the next match, obviously we were thinking WWE, but we have to explore the waters from other companies. Other companies that perhaps air on Wednesday night. That
main event.
Yeah, MLW.
That's it. So we figured, what if, and I mean what if, before all the WWE and NXT or NXT fans, come after me, what if AEW went the route of cinematic matches? Now, the shades come on, of course. Now, because we've seen the Stadium Stampede, which was highly amazing. We know they can put up something as similar-esque to this, which, people are saying, AEW's copying WWE because, they're better people. But if we were to do AEW, then why not have two people who we know can be part of a good rivalry and who we know can be part of a good match? Cody and Kenny Omega. As Wolf has the Funko Pops. Are those autographed Funko? Well done.
Yes, they're both signed, yes.
Well done.
Oh,
well
nice.
done. So, we're thinking, what if these two went head to head? What if these two went head to head in a cinematic match? Okay, great. What would they do? And I'm gonna pass off to Wolf here because RJ, I even tell RJ this, and you're gonna want to hear it. So we said,
hang on, I want you to read the notes.
Okay, all right, you want me to
and I'll correct you if you're wrong. I'm just gonna sit here and just I want to hear my words through somebody else.
So we were brainstorming this, and then we said, okay, why don't we put them in an amusement park? An amusement park such as Six Flags, as America's famously known for, or here in Canada, Canada's Wonderland. So the match starts in a Six Flags. They go around, and then they start at the merry-go-round. Wrestling there. Doing some moves on the horses and whatnot, and then their fight leads them accidentally to a roller coaster. They get on a roller coaster. Probably they somehow end up on a roller coaster. They get into the train. They get into the little cart, and they start riding off. And then when they get to the top of the peak before the big drop, Kenny somehow positions Cody in a one-winged angel.
Okay.
And just before he hits the one-winged angel is when the coaster starts dropping. So you don't even know if he completes the one-winged angel because they're going down dying. When they get to the end of the ride, the young Bucks, Matt and Nick, are waiting for Cody because when the car comes into the station, that's where he gets super kicked. And then that's where Kenny pins Cody in the cart to win the cinematic amusement park match. I mean, first of all, I'm happy we went with this cinematic with this amusement park approach because we set amusement park for Shane to jump off a Ferris wheel. Shane McMahon, maybe not. So
we just couldn't figure out who he would be facing.
Yeah,
and then we just decided, no, we don't want to see another Shane match.
No, I don't. I wouldn't mind seeing another Shane. I love Shane.
Only if Shane's jumping off a Ferris wheel.
Exactly. We just need to figure out who he was jumping onto. Or, maybe not jumping on because don't need that Vince out of the way. Or Vince, who's done it before. Not off a Ferris wheel, but he's, So, RJ, your thoughts on one? Yeah, go ahead. Go.
So, when they come through, to the end of the ride, are the Young Bucks just waiting there with super kicks and then they just, decapitate her?
I love that you go with. I love that that's your question, and not how do they not die when they're standing in a roller coaster at the top of a hill that suddenly goes down? Because I think Michael Bay wouldn't even try something like that.
I just kind of, I just kind of went with it at that point. It's okay, well that's a little, but that's plausible. Sure. Just get some
plausible.
You need stunt harnesses, CGI to take out the wires. This is a Jackie Chan movie.
But why stop there? Let's move on to the bungee jumping ride. The two of them can be up there strapped together, throwing punches as they're trying to go down back and forth.
Kenny in one of the swings
they get on the big swing set ride, or they go around. They're trying to swing their swing to kick each other. And
for the record, Wolf, I know where RJ's going with this. RJ's bringing up a lot of rides at Canada's Wonderland ran, Extreme Skyflyer. There was a new one that they introduced where you're it's in a chair, but you're suspended so high up in the air, swinging around.
And there's one where you can swing yourself and do flips on your little airplane thing now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So you can do that, and you can go to the games too, right? The squirting, the water gun game. He could hit him up to the thing and just start, or get a funnel cake and just right in the face. Oh, there's comedy gold at the amusement park.
Okay, wait. I think I know where you're going with this. Just a montage of different fights on different rides, but somewhere towards the end, or in the middle, I just want a shot of them both in their bathing suits in a lazy river floating by. Cody's drinking a beer, Kenny's drinking some milk, and maybe a referee swims up and is drunk. Okay, guys, break's over. All right.
A lazy river. I didn't even think of that part. That'd be beautiful.
I just want a shot of them in a lazy river, oh yeah, Pharaoh's fine. We have him on this new diet. Oh, that's pretty cool. I missed him. It's okay. I'm glad we take time to do this.
Hey, did you get a chance to ride that one over there? Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Jose left out the best part of the roller coaster.
That's all I have here. What else did you say?
As Kenny walks out of the ride after he wins, he goes through the gift shop. and he sees the screen where they show the pictures like that they take on the ride, and like on the screen is just a picture of him with Cody and the one-winged angel, and they're both smiling at the camera, too sweeting, and then he's like, I'll take an 8x10 and 4 wallets. And then like on the next screen it just shows like Orange Cassidy like on the ride after them, like
See, this all for me personally. This is like a personal story. I was bringing back a lot of memories because I actually used to work at the local amusement park in the GTA in the Greater Toronto area. You used to work at Wonderland as well.
Oh yeah, buddy.
What'd you do?
I just did rides.
Oh, I wanted to do rides. I got stuck in.
I wasn't 18 yet though, so they didn't let me operate the ride. I was just the guy to like check wristbands and like stamps and stuff and like people's heights.
So I got put on games because of like
I wanted to do games. We should
because I could project my voice and all that, but I couldn't stay too late because I don't live close to the park at all, right? And my dad is like, you can't stay past a certain time, so they put me in Kidsville, the kids section. So I was doing the games in Kidsville. The games are so much better using a microphone and all that. But anyways, and I can just think of like all the stuff you can do, like at least in that area or like across the park itself with this wrestling match. I know there's like a kids mini golf game. You can smack them with a golf.
There's like the ladder climb thing that you can do.
The ladder climb or like the big water park. There's so many different things you can do. And I'm like, I don't like to have you guys make sense with this, especially with the 8x10 photo and the wallets down the ride.
Get them like trapped in like that little like teacup ride, like together in like the kids zone, just like trying to fight each other while like spinning around on like a teacup.
It's a small world after all.
And then at certain points throughout the montage, it's just like other wrestlers or always Orange Cassidy just doing something at the park.
Like
like sipping a collector's cup, just like
the more Orange Cassidy, the better. The more that's what I say. The more Orange Cassidy, the better. So gentlemen, after we've brought back reminisce our amusement park days, I don't know if you guys still do. I know I definitely don't. I haven't been to the park since my last shift there. Who would win the match? RJ?
I think I got to go with Cody here. I think Cody would take a lot of. He would take advantage of the amusement park setting. I think he would be strong here. As much as I love the finish to Wolf's story, and I love them, just decapitating him with the super kick at the end. I just think
come off.
I just think his head. I just think that Cody would take advantage here. I got to go with Cody.
Wolf. So you would go with Kenny then? You're right because of the pin.
Yeah.
You go. See, again, this is not intentional. I am going with RJ again. I do see. Damn it. 3 for 3, RJ. I do see Cody winning this.
Hypotheticals, baby.
You gotta love it. See, I think so far out of all the sitting man matches that we've discussed, I want to see this one.
Oh, this would be hilarious.
This would be so good if we did this. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Let's move on to the next cinematic match here. We were visiting the women, and of course we go to the land of NXT. And I'm gonna let Wolf piggyback on this one again because then once again he had mostly the creative idea of this, but we were thinking Io versus Dakota Kai because Dakota Kai is an up and coming superstar in the NXT universe. Io Shirai, of course, the new NXT Women's Champion, and we figured, you know what, I know NXT hasn't been on the positive side of things with the cinematic matches, unfortunately, especially with Johnny Gargano, who nobody wants to. We all want to put that to the side.
That was like My Dinner with Andre of cinematic matches. It's like just nothing happens. It's just like
So the reason why I want to put this off to Wolf again, because RJ, it's time for another story that I can't even explain because I don't even know if I have the notes properly. So your thought, Wolf, just go.
Okay, so it's in Australia.
There we go.
Okay, perfect.
It just takes place in the Australian outback. Like, because Dakota Kai wants to be on her home turf. She's from New Zealand, Australia. And I thought about going with the Lord of the Rings theme at first, but I don't know how much of that stuff is actually still set up. Maybe you could do a quick cameo going through Bilbo's hut or whatever. But whatever. Just fighting through the Australian desert. Like, there's a boomerang shot. Like, Dakota throws it, and, like, Io ducks it, and then does a moonsault over it as it comes back. And the finish involves Dakota Kai riding on the back of a kangaroo, who happens to be the same kangaroo that played Jackie Legs in the movie Kangaroo Jack.
This is where it ties in. Perfect. Okay.
And then, the kangaroo starts rapping, And then
Of course.
while Io is distracted, Dakota comes up from behind and pins her and becomes the champion. And, Jackie Legs is there, and he does another rap for Dakota Kai after she's the new champion. Well, a heavy, Dakota is the champion, let's get busy. Yeah.
How long did it take you to think of that?
He was just watching Kangaroo Jack.
It's not on Netflix. I'm annoyed.
It's not. It's actually very surprising. I figured it'd be something that should be easier to find.
And the lesser-known sequel, Kangaroo Jack, Good Day USA.
Good
which
day.
Doesn't have any of the original. Yeah, no, not Good Day. Good Day.
Good day.
That movie, I told Jose this yesterday. That movie scared the crap out of me as a kid. Like just from the trailer, I was scared that the kangaroo was gonna come rap and mug me at Pizza Hut because that's where we went after we saw the movie. And my mom's like, "Okay, honey, the kangaroo isn't real. It's not a real kangaroo. I don't know. I don't know how they make the kangaroo rap, but it's not real. It's not coming to you. We live in New York. There's no kangaroos here." Okay.
I don't know how we made the kangaroo rap, but it didn't actually happen.
It's not a real kangaroo. Real kangaroos don't wear sunglasses and jackets that they steal from Anthony Anderson. I don't know. Part of me doesn't really want to lean on the whole Australia thing, but I just kind of want to see a kangaroo
Somewhere, somehow.
Yeah. It doesn't even have to be Dakota Kai. I don't want you to think I'm doing this just because she's Australian or from New Zealand.
I think you just wanted to get a kangaroo in this somehow.
I just need kangaroos.
Yeah.
I mean, because Jose rejected my premise of a horse becoming the WWE champion, but we're not going to go into that.
I refuse to. Yes. Let's get that right.
I want to win the championship.
So, RJ, your thoughts on all this and who would win this?
I'm cool with Kangaroo Jack, so I mean, I just want to get that.
The kangaroo doesn't win; he just raps at the end.
No, I feel like as long as Io Shirai can moonsault off of something, I don't know, like a very tall. What do they have in New Zealand? Mountains? No, trees. Tall tree.
Oh god!
They have
a stack of kangaroos.
No, not a stack of kangaroos. There's just one kangaroo and
There's
raps.
just one kangaroo. Okay, well, I just want to see her moonsault off of something very tall.
I want to see her moonsault and dodge a boomerang.
That would be cool. Okay, so gets a boomerang thrown at her, and then somehow instead of matrixing it, just moonsaults over top of it, and then also just somehow lands on top of Dakota Kai for the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. And there's your finish. And then Kangaroo Jack can come.
Kangaroo Jack has a face
about it.
He has a face turn and helps to Io Shirai.
I'm gonna go with Io Shirai for the victory. I don't know where we were going with this match.
This is my least thought out one.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out too, but I'm just for my sake, I'm just gonna once again side with RJ, say Io, just because I just didn't know where this was gonna end up either, and I'm just gonna go with Io as well. So right now,
I'm 100% down to see Kangaroo Jack though.
At one point, we got to.
I'm trying to see if it's on Netflix.
At one point, we got to get him back. Oh, hey, remember, your Netflix over there is different from ours, okay? So if you say it's on Netflix and then we don't see it on ours, we're gonna have problems.
You've never even seen it, have you?
No, I actually wanted to as a kid and never got to it.
It's a great movie.
And can the ship that we're doing SummerSlam on just be docked somewhere in Australia or New Zealand, so we can just all tie this together?
God, yes, it is on Netflix. Yay! Yes.
I thought he was agreeing with me, and it was an amazing idea.
Oh, and I already watched.
Just no, I've already seen Kangaroo Jack.
Oh, but yeah, you could tie it in Bailey and Sasha, whatever. Let's just go watch this kangaroo fight.
Just want to point out. He gets excited. I just checked on Netflix. He gets excited for his. RJ, we don't have it on ours.
Yeah, I don't think so. I would have.
We'll find a way. Rent it. Buy it. I don't know. You have to see this movie.
I am protesting.
Christopher Walken is in it. Christopher Walken and a rapping kangaroo. What more do you need?
I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that you just gave us hope for something that was not there.
Check Hulu, Amazon. I don't know.
We don't have Hulu, you fool. I told you this 6 times.
I know,
it's not Hulu.
that's why you couldn't watch the Road to El Dorado with us.
I don't know how many times like RJ, this guy's like, hey, do you want to watch something on Hulu? I'm like, you dumbass. I don't have Hulu. We Canadians don't.
It's
like,
been established they don't
didn't
listen
know
to
we
people.
had it. We didn't have Hulu. I assumed
really?
we had Hulu. Yeah.
Oh, so
No.
now you're shaming RJ.
Well, fine. I'll shame him too. I'll shame him too. Because see, what RJ just didn't know. I told you like I get God knows how many times, and you're like, yeah, the Canadians have Hulu. I'm like, no, we don't, you fool. Because I tried it myself because I wanted to watch episodes.
Apparently, you also
of
don't
Brooklyn
have
Nine-Nine.
ESPN.
No, we have TSN.
Now we have TSN. Yeah.
And our Canadian version of Sports Center with the RE instead of ER. Sports Center.
It's just like the same thing, really. Not
Exactly.
really. It's not
Just
as good, but like. Well.
I mean, and the US has Sports United.
I can't really say it's not.
We have
Good.
a lot
It's
of
not
good
like
things
as
here.
like
Yeah.
big, I guess. I don't know.
All right.
It's like the same company.
So we're gonna move on here because we have 2 more matches and we feel like it would be a little bit more serious. With RJ can explain the last one, but when we were thinking out this list, we were saying we cannot have Bray Wyatt in any more of these matches because he's already been put in a lot of them already.
And then we immediately put him in.
But then we realized no. Bray Wyatt actually would be a solid match. So we once again came up with the whole Firefly Funhouse Sid and Banner match because it worked very well with John Cena. It was great to see his past, the NWO, the Thugonomics, all that jazz. And then we figured, what if once again, because we've noticed that the Firefly Funhouse is to revisit and tackle down the demons of the past. And so we figured, why not with Triple H? Because Triple H has a whole lot of stuff, I'm sure. Like a lot of stuff. The guy's had an incredible career, but who can forget that at one point the man was almost fired for the infamous curtain call back in 1996 or 1997, I believe. And again, just a whole lot to revisit. I mean, those people, very few people remember that Triple H was actually in WCW. It was actually pinned clean by a man named Alex Wright. For the love of God, Alex Wright, a crazy dancing German, beat out one of wrestling's biggest stars today. And of course, for most people, you wouldn't even realize that because, like Triple H at one point was considered a jobber or was considered like a guy who may not have ever made it. And he met WWE. So, your thoughts on this whole thing, Triple H versus Bray Wyatt, RJ?
Yeah, there's a lot of old Triple H past that you could really kind of dig through. There's the whole, you can do the marriage to Stephanie McMahon, the whole like drugging, the drugging of her, and randomly marrying her. Katie Vick.
Oh God, Katie Vick.
You can revisit some of that. So when you guys came up with this on your own, and then I came up with a different one that I wanted to see go up against Bray. And I didn't even really think about Triple H, but now that you guys have brought it up, I'm like, man, you can really kind of dig into some old Triple H past, And this could actually end up being he'd be a really good. Not that I'm sure. I don't know if Triple H is planning on wrestling anytime soon, or it was just his birthday yesterday. I saw that on Twitter.
It was his birthday. Yes.
I don't know if that's another reason why you guys brought him up, but
no, just
a happy coincidence.
Yeah.
But I think that Triple H should actually. I never really thought of him as a good opponent for Bray, but now that you guys have brought him up, there's actually a lot of
They teased it.
Sorry?
They teased it like way back in 2016.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that, to be honest, until you guys brought it up. But he'd be a really good opponent for Bray, especially in a scenario like this, because there's a lot that you can go back through in Triple H's career.
Just want to point out, because Wolf, for those that are not watching on YouTube, you put on a face when RJ brought up the Stephanie thing. Did you not know about that? No? Oh boy, let's quickly recap. And in the midst of just before Triple H properly aligned himself with Stephanie, made that official, which behind the scenes was when they were slowly starting to like each other and whatnot. One of the storylines was Triple H's beef with Vince McMahon. So Triple H sedated Stephanie, or drugged, I guess. I don't know what the proper term is, and he went to a drive-in chapel, like a drive-through chapel in Las Vegas, and got married with Stephanie. So
when she was supposed to marry Test.
When she was supposed to marry Test. And then from there at Armageddon, it was 1999, because in Armageddon of 1999 is when Stephanie turned on Test and Vince McMahon and realized that, she was actually aligned with Triple H the whole time, which eventually led to the epic McMahon in every corner at WrestleMania 2000 or WrestleMania 16 with Foley, Big Show, and The Rock. So it was a start. It was a seed that was planted. And of course, eventually, obviously, it led to a real life relationship and a real life marriage and all that stuff. So, but when they were mixed into the storyline at first, it was just all professional until they realized that they had feelings for each other, which, you know, brings up the whole China situation and all that. But yeah, it was this storyline that started that whole relationship. The 90s, man. You had no idea. Wow. Oh, I'm waiting for this one. He's taking his time. All right, let's do some play-by-play, RJ. He's looking at the wall.
Oh no.
Face buried in the fist. Elbow on the counter. Sitting in the chair, confusing, smiling.
Great yellow
wondering. Shirt. An amazing yellow shirt. And amazing posters in the back as well. But of course, you got to wonder, what is Wolf thinking here today on Under the Middle Rope, RJ? And it's not a good look.
I was going to be an archaeologist.
You were going to be an archaeologist.
You were going to be an archaeologist?
I originally wanted to be an archaeologist when I grew up, until I realized Indiana Jones doesn't represent real archaeology. So somehow my life has led to me appearing on these podcasts with these clowns. I want to know where it changed. Like when I was in 7th grade, I was reading these books like explaining the religious history and like the artifacts and like preservation and the search for like the Ark of the Covenant or like actual like things like that.
Oh, so you were getting ready for the Aleister Black and Seth Rollins cinematic match in grade 7.
And I hear things like what he just said, and it brings me back to wondering, why am I here? Good Lord. I should be on like a dig in Cairo or something right now.
It was a storyline. It was like if you did this today, holy smokes, it would be like completely shot in. And let the record stand that Vince McMahon green-lighted this for his own daughter. Greenlit this. I mean, he greenlit a lot for Stephanie in that era. I mean, who can forget when she was nearly sacrificed to the Undertaker in that same year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on the Taker symbol.
Hey, can we move on? Let's talk about my ideas for this match, damn it.
Yeah, go ahead, because it's
yes.
All right, if we're going with the idea of Bray Wyatt, like exploring Triple H's past, and oh god, I really wish I became an archaeologist. If we go like Bray Wyatt teasing Triple H, the things I want to see are like him coming out in the Hunter Hearst Helmsley outfit, like with the red coat and the ponytail, but it's very clearly like fake ponytail because he doesn't have any hair. I want to see like a recreation of the curtain call, like Shawn on one side, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash on the other, and they just turn to him and say, "This could have killed you, man. This is where it nearly all went away. But you found the boss's daughter." Just like he does it too sweet. And like,
hey yo.
Then he wakes up inside this like room, like with a printer, and like all of a sudden you hear Photographs by Nickelback playing, and then the printer starts printing out these pictures. Like here's one of China, here's one of Kane, here's one of Sting at WrestleMania 31. Like
the worst. Absolutely.
Every time I hear it makes me laugh. And then like the lights go dark again, and then all of a sudden behind him is Stardust. And is Stardust in full makeup, full costume. And he says, "Just think, man, if only you'd let me take this makeup off, you'd be able to rest on Wednesday nights."
Pretty deep.
Would it actually be Cody, or would it just be like a Cody lookalike, like pretending to be Cody?
Probably a Cody lookalike. Yeah,
I'd like to think that if like Cody would maybe do it, but more than likely, if we're gonna go extremely existentialist, then they'll get a lookalike, and maybe it's a room full of polka dots on the wall, and like then maybe Shawn Michaels comes in like in his like old HBK gear. And he's like, "You took so much from everyone else." He pulls up the shovel. "You used this more times than an actual Undertaker did.
Wow.
And now you're too concerned about giving back. NXT is just your guilt. That's all it is. Let's see you sign someone without a camera and your finger pointing at them.
Wow.
The infamous text.
And then Husky Harris comes out. Harris comes out.
Okay.
Not like the Fiend's like dramatic music is playing, but Husky Harris comes out and says, "You didn't make me. I made me." And then that's the finish of like Husky Harris like going in for the pin, and then the Fiend counting. Yeah.
I mean, roll credits, of course. You got to roll the credits after that.
Yeah. But I think more than anything else, I just really want that Stardust moment.
Yeah, I felt like that was the build up.
That was the big one. That's the big. That's the
That was
big.
the
Maybe
big
that's the
reveal.
last thing you see before Husky Harris comes out.
You know what's funny? I actually see them doing that too. I actually see that because I know these two like to take jabs at each other every now and then. More AEW, more WWE, but I actually see that happening.
Oh yeah, and you need the shovel too.
Yeah,
Absolutely
of course.
need the shovel.
The golden shuffle. I mean, like the fact that there's a GIF when you look up like your Facebook or whatever, of Triple H in a Buried Alive match digging, like it just tells the whole story. Tells
Oh
everything.
wait! I just thought of a post-credit scene.
Oh, there's post credits. Sick.
Like, it cuts to a bar where the match is being shown on a TV, and then the camera goes to John Cena, and he's just drinking a whiskey. He's like, "Wow, I guess I got off pretty easy."
So, RJ, your thoughts on all of this and who would win this?
I absolutely love how much thought you put into that. I'm a big fan. I'm a big
Yeah,
fan.
He's a huge storyteller. Wolf's a huge storyteller.
Key moments for me are obviously the Stardust scene. The HBK coming out with the shovel obviously needs to make a mention in there. I love that you had a whole build up for this and like a whole idea, and I was just like thinking of the goofy like Katie Vick scenes that we should just be making fun of Triple H for. But yeah, no, they've teased like a Triple H versus Bray. I know I said that they hadn't before, but I was mistaken. They teased it before when when Triple H was holding the title and he looked at the title and touched the title and Bray held the title. That would be nice. Even if obviously if they go in the cinematic route. So I think I'd be looking forward to this, and if it happens, then Bray would obviously need to beat Triple H because that's just the way that that's
Finally,
just the way that it goes. Like that's
there's no.
I could have picked Triple H just to go.
no. What if what if the
Well, what if
end
it
was
was
just
one?
like him pulling out a shovel, hitting Bray in the back of the head,
Yeah.
like, "Do I make the rules here?
It's like, oh, Sean was right, but I never put this away. It's like,
Who said I was done?
who said I was done with the shovel?
I'm not ready."
And then it's him just, like, as an Undertaker, just like digging a hole for Bray, just like like a Buried Alive match, just like digging it and just like putting him in there. Oh, there's another one, boys.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Between these two, if Triple H were to win, social media would be on fire, like set on fire. Bray's obviously winning. There's no doubt about it. Like we're not even gonna entertain that, other than just it should be Bray Wyatt. So yeah, we're all unanimous here. Let's quickly go through the last match because we are running out of time.
Yep.
RJ brought this up personally. This was his idea. Bray, and I'm gonna let him take the full realms here, see what he's got. It's got Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar in a cinematic match. So RJ, you better careful not to trigger everybody, but go ahead.
Yeah, it wouldn't really be like, oh, I'd be triggering people here, eh?
I don't care about either one.
It wouldn't really be as much of like a House of Horrors kind of match like with Triple H or John Cena, because that's not really like the type of character that Brock is, even though he has kind of squashed everybody. That's not really, I don't think it would go that way. I feel like it'd be more of a match that he had like with Braun or with Orton. It wouldn't probably necessarily be incredibly good because those matches ended up being a miss for the most part. But one where it kind of tries to scare Brock and it would be kind of to almost humanize Brock a little bit and get him down like a peg from like the unstoppable monster Brock thing. To see him like, I didn't really go dig super, super deep into it because I don't know what to like, but Bray versus Brock hasn't really, really happened before. Bray in a cinematic match with Brock where he could kind of try and scare Brock into himself a little bit like he did with Braun, even though I don't really know how I could handle it. I didn't really think about this one as much, but Bray and Brock in a cinematic match is just something that I think that I ran out of time. Okay, guys, I didn't have as much.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, like, if we were to do Firefly Funhouse for Brock again, like assuming Brock would be down for this. I mean, you could revisit his 2004 exit at WrestleMania 20.
Yeah, that's true.
With Goldberg, because we all know how great the crowd loved it. We know how much they enjoyed that at Madison Square Garden. You could do that. You could probably revisit, like, how many people he's buried, and or like that WrestleMania 34 moment where he suddenly won and then he threw the title at Vince. Imagine that.
Or they could visit the streak ending and how that obviously wasn't very highly, kind of agreed upon, and it could have been like, oh, you didn't have to do this, you didn't have to end. I don't know how they could really handle that, but
it's all coming to me right now.
Again, like the title that he threw at Vince after WrestleMania 34 just gets boomeranged back to him. Just comes back. Wolf, you had thoughts on this before you?
Oh my god! Like, I just had like a whole thing just played. I just like saw the entire match in my head. Okay, so Brock like sees the John Cena match. He sees the Triple H match. So he's just like, he bounces up and down. I'm not going to stand around and let you get in my head. And he just kicks down the door of the Firefly Funhouse. And then it starts. And he thinks Paul Heyman's right behind him. But then he turns around. And there's Bray Wyatt dressed as Paul Heyman. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bray Wyatt. And I am the advocate for the loser, Brock Lesnar. Okay. And
the conquered,
and like he goes through this whole like promo like style, like he does a whole Heyman style promo, and then he goes through this history, like, and then Brock just like starts running away down this hallway, and then like just as he like opens this door, there's Goldberg.
Oh god!
And then he like slams the door. He's like, no, not you again! I can't go through this again! No! And
Survivor Series, yep.
He runs down the hallway, and then there's Kurt Angle, and like all of a sudden he feels this sharp pain in his neck and his head, like there's flashes of the what's it called, the Shooting Star Press,
WrestleMania 19.
He has all these flashbacks, and like he all of a sudden he has this like neck brace on, and then he runs away again, and then he goes through this other door, and he's wearing a Minnesota Vikings jersey.
Oh, beautiful!
And like he's like, and then like some coach is like, Lesnar, practice squad. Oh God, I didn't even make the team.
Yeah,
and like he goes through this next door, and there are the Inokis. Mr. Lesnar, we're gonna need the belt back.
Oh, that's right. The whole like New Japan, the story that you brought up a while back. Like, okay.
And then there's Shinsuke, like he's just waiting
in the UFC cage and just starts getting.
And there's like Angle and Shinsuke standing behind the Inokis, like, we'll take that from you. And then he's like, oh, what is going on? What's going on?
Well, yeah, like. Do you like what RJ just said? Do you revisit the UFC whole?
That I'm getting there.
Or you're getting
there? Don't worry, I'm getting there. And then like all of a sudden, like, the lights go down, and then the lights come back up, and he's inside an octagon, and out comes Bray Wyatt, like in like UFC gear, and like you hear like Michael Buffer or Bruce Buffer announce that Frank Mir's here. It's like, no, it's just me. And like in 5 seconds, Bray submits Brock Lesnar. And I would like to say that's the finish. But then you go through like a quick montage of like all the people that he's squashed or been squashed by. He's like, all the money you have, all the privacy that you maintain on that farm in Minnesota. What does it matter if you're not giving back? And then the finish of the match is a Claymore out of nowhere.
Oh.
Like it's Bray dressed as Drew McIntyre. He's like,
okay.
Face it. In an era when there's nobody in the stands to boo you, why bother coming back? And then the lights go down, and then the Fiend like does the count, and it's similar to the end of the Triple H match. But yeah. Exactly. That's what I got. Oh, and then I didn't even touch on the steroids, but just I don't know.
God.
Like, I don't know. There's somebody in there with like a steroid reference. I don't
see. I think at the end of what makes me mad is I feel like despite all that, Brock still comes back to win because he's Brock. That's what's.
I don't know if he'd win that match, but he would redeem himself in a regular wrestling match after.
Oh, he would destroy Bray. He would just throw him around like a pancake.
Like he comes out on Raw the next night, he's like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but get out here. We're doing this my style. And like you just see the Fiend getting tossed like with 16 suplexes and then 18 F5s because he's just that angry.
Or like
okay, give me that mask.
And just elbows him to beat him up like on the head.
The one thing I did want to say for the end of this match was just like in the Lake of Reincarnation and like in the Braun match where Bray goes in and comes out as the Fiend. I'm thinking they both go in and then they both come out and Brock is also the Fiend now, and they're just double OP tag team Fiend Brock and Bray.
It sounds like Dragon Ball Z.
the Fiend Beast.
Surprisingly, I have been watching Dragon Ball Z.
Brock Lesnar.
We'll just alter Brock's character completely. He goes into the Lake of Bray incarnation because I think we discussed on the last podcast that takes place at the Hardy compound.
Did you see Being the Elite yesterday?
I don't watch it yet.
Because like Matt Hardy now goes around selling bottles of water from the Lake of Reincarnation for $500, and Frankie Kazarian gets it, and he's all of a sudden able to beat himself from TNA.
That's great. Well, I think we can close the show there for the day after all these wild. I mean, if there was, I think out of all of these, I think the ones that were probably most likely have would maybe be Seth and Black. Although I am now a big advocate for Cody versus Kenny.
That's got to happen.
It's got to happen.
I mean, they will feud at some point. They kind of have to, but I don't it's not going to be anytime soon.
Like during Jacksonville, I'm sure there's parks around.
We need to tape an amusement park match, just the three of us.
Oh God, I'm not. Yeah,
you can be there.
That would be called urban exploring, and it's somewhat illegal. Real quick, do you know the legend of Six Flags New Orleans?
No, there's a legend with Six Flags New Orleans.
Well, it's more like a story, and it's just kind of fun to hear. Well, not fun so much as oh my god, there was a Six Flags in New Orleans, and right before Hurricane Katrina, they closed it with the full intention that they'd reopen afterwards, but they never did, and it just became overrun with grass and destroyed rides and wildlife. And there's a pack of wild boars that roams the park. Just roams the park. And eventually it got to the point they kept coming up with new plans to reopen the park, and they decided, you know what? Never mind. We're just going to sell this to Hollywood. And they turned it into the set for Jurassic World. And that's where they filmed the movie.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's where they filmed a lot of Jurassic World.
That's cool. I had no idea.
You could do Six Flags New Orleans for the set for a lot of this. If you need an abandoned theme park.
That sucks. I mean, I know we also had an abandoned theme park here in Toronto as well, called Ontario Place, and you can actually walk around the old grounds as well. Very similar, very eerie.
Everything's abandoned now.
Yeah, I actually a couple of years ago I actually walked around the area because I ended up there and it was holy crap. It's just
you can go to Budweiser stage, I guess. Still, you can go to concerts.
Well, God, Budweiser. I've never been to a concert. Fun fact.
You will.
Well, gentlemen, we will close it up here. Thank you so much, and let's get to the closing.
To the closing, Jinx.
What the heck? It's my line. We're out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Let's get to the closing. What the hell? You made it to the end of the episode, and I told you. I told you this was going to be the weirdest and wackiest episodes that we've done so far since starting up the podcast, and I got to give props to all the gentlemen for the creativity, and if you made it to the closing, if you actually made it, lasted throughout the whole thing, that proposed Drew Jinder match that Wolf wanted to bring up, I'll bring it up now because you'll realize how dumb it sounds. He wanted those two to be at a horse stable, where horses reside, not a wrestling stable, like an actual location for horses, where the Singh brothers come in on two ponies to bring out a red carpet for Jinder Mahal, who's riding in on a horse. But then Drew comes out of nowhere to claymore Jinder off the horse, which is dangerous enough. But then after that, the horse turns on Drew and on Jinder, claymores them both, and then the horse pins on top of both of them to become your WWE champion. There was a reason why I didn't bring that up, because it would have been really dumb to extend it, and I have no regrets in saying this. So, thanks, Wolf, for your weirdness, but we appreciate you anyways. Next week, of course, we will be back with another episode. Gears got to be turning. We do have a couple of ideas in mind for you guys, so you will have to stay tuned. And more importantly, especially if you're a patron or if you're not a patron yet, get ready, because within the next week there will be that massive announcement that involves SummerSlam. So I really hope you guys look out for that, because this is going to be a lot of fun. And in saying that is that. Thank you so much for watching. Become a patron. Get ready for that big announcement, because again, this is one that you're all going to want to be a part of, and you will have to become a patron. So please support us here for the podcast. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe here on YouTube. I am Jose Tabuada. We will see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye.